Destiny 2 Renegades is here, and along with it came the Lawless Frontier, a brand new activity type that's the main gameplay loop of the season. And so far, I've put around 20 hours into the expansion, and therefore feel pretty qualified to bring you everything you could possibly need to know about the Lawless Frontier, from how the system works, how to farm currencies like credits, salvage, and ingots most effectively, and where to find and use exotic keycards, to name a few. So without further ado, let's get into it. And if you find today's guide helpful, then a like and subscribe is very much appreciated. So to kick things off, let's begin by talking about the activity itself. If you've ever played Helldivers 2, the gameplay loop of the Lawless Frontier is actually shockingly similar. You're dropped down into a map and then tasked with a series of major objectives that all contribute to and culminate in a final encounter based on the type of job you selected. Bounty hunts end with killing a boss, smuggle jobs involve stealing resources and conclude with transmatting cargo into your evac shuttle, and sabotage jobs consist of hitting enemy assets and end with destroying a bunch of enemy equipment. Each job usually also has a couple bonus side objectives that can be completed for extra loot and score, and in order to find these optional objectives, look into the sky and find where the giant purple beams are emanating from. That's where they are located. Also, like Helldivers 2, before you load into a job, you're going to be asked to select 2 Renegade abilities, which, to continue the analogy, are essentially Destiny 2's version of stratagems, an extra piece of kit which you can bring in to support your build and make the job run smoother. Examples include a Cabal drop pod that deals damage and drops ammo, a strafing run that deals a considerable amount of damage in a wide AoE, or a recon shank that pings enemy invaders, loot caches, and so on. There's plenty of choice to be had here, and yes, in my opinion, there are certain optimal abilities to take in, but we'll discuss those later. Speaking of invaders, certain jobs also feature invasions, a mode modifier which allows other players to invade others' games and kill them, slowing down their progress and earning loot for themselves in the process. As far as loot is concerned, while on the job, completing objectives and killing enemies will occasionally drop gear and lockboxes, an item which will only convert into what it says once you extract. And there are several types of lockbox that come in different qualities as well, including credit, dark matter ingot, weapons, armor, and ascendant lockboxes. There are also breakable pots everywhere throughout each map that for the most part contain health orbs because, yeah, during this activity your health regeneration is not turned on and you need to find other ways of healing, such as using certain renegade abilities like Revitalize. But there's also plenty of pots scattered around, so your health should never really be a problem. Overall, the objectives are pretty straightforward and the enemy density is actually fantastic. And when you manage to successfully extract from a job, any lockboxes you found during your run can be deposited to convert them into their associated currency or gear reward. And that's essentially it for the activity. So now let's talk a little more in depth about the currencies you'll be earning as you play. When looking at the destination holomap, opening the menu on the left hand side and selecting the wallet tab will bring you to your personal wallet that shows a variety of different currencies you have, these being salvage, credits, dark matter ingots, keycards, and death marks. So from the top, what do each of these do and where can you earn and spend them? Starting with salvage, this currency is obtained via dismantling any new blaster weapon and either the Shrewd Survivor or Thriving Survivor armor sets. You get 1 piece of salvage per dismantle, and so far there doesn't seem to be a cap. One thing I've seen a lot of people confused about is where to actually spend your salvage, and don't worry, that's what I'm here to help with. When you load into Tharsis Outpost, instead of heading straight for the cantina, turn to your right and follow the path until you find this guy who offers either a weapon or armor purchase for 10 salvage each. As far as I'm aware, this is the only place you're actually able to spend your salvage as of week 1 of Renegades, and furthermore, I actually would not recommend buying anything from here and instead hoarding your salvage until you obtain the gear tier upgrade from Spider, because if you don't have this, you'll just be getting a bunch of tier 3s, so best to wait. Credits are next, and these are your standard currency that are used for basically everything, including buying weapon caches, upgrading renegade abilities, and small things like bribing this random Cabal dude. Drop a comment if you know what this does, because I still haven't found out, lol. Credits can be earned in several ways, including completing jobs, collecting resources, opening chests, opening credit lockboxes at the end of a job, contracts, invasions, and they can even drop from killing enemies depending on whether that planetary bonus is active that day. Point is, credits are very easy to obtain and there isn't any direct farm, and my best advice is to just play the game and you'll naturally start to accumulate plenty of them. Dark matter ingots are a more rare currency whose main purpose is to be deposited 10 at a time in syndicate war chests in the cantina to enable you to earn some bonus reputation with your chosen syndicate, and doing so grants you plus 100 reputation per deposit. This currency can be earned mainly through jobs, again via depositing lockboxes at the end. However, there are some other random sources scattered around Tharsis Outpost, but these don't amount to much. The main way is just playing the activity. Next we have the keycards. These are exotic exotic items that are a rare drop from end of activity or mid-activity sources that allow you to open locked rooms on certain maps, and killing the boss within these rooms unlocks 2 regular and 1 exotic bonus chest. And actually, if you open these exotic chests on your alternate characters, it drops the new class exotic, assuming you didn't do the legendary campaign. If not, it just gives a random exotic and some bonus loot. The keycard itself will also tell you which map it can be used on. I have one here that's attached to the Forging Matrix map, which is the one right here on Europa. And actually, when I recorded this, the Forging Matrix map wasn't available because it was controlled by the Totality Division. But that's okay, because once the daily reset hits, it rotates back in. A good piece of advice I can give is that if you have a keycard but don't know where the room is on the map that it directs you to, coming in with a max level Recon Shank Renegade ability will actually ping the location of the vault on your HUD, visible by the 2 chests that are next to each other. So simply follow the marker and you'll be there in no time. Lastly, you can only hold 1 keycard at a time, so make sure to go and use it. Finally, the last currency you can earn are death marks. These are your ticket to playing with the invasion system. Each invade costs 1 death mark, but you can wager up to a maximum of 3, which will improve the quantity of rewards you get upon completion of your invasion. Death marks can only be earned by completing jobs in the contested territory playlist, which by the way is always open to invaders, and you usually just get 1 for finishing. And you also get 3 from the daily invasion contract. More on contracts later though. Next, we're discussing all of the different vendors you can interact with in Tharsis Outpost and what they can do for you, starting with Spider. Spider is located on the upper level of the cantina and is actually a pretty important vendor. Firstly, he offers the ability to upgrade 3 of his own renegade abilities, these being Strafing Run, Revitalize, and Recon Shank, all of which are actually very solid, but even more importantly, he offers a gear tier upgrade that permanently raises the gear tier of all Renegades gear by 1, which should be a very high priority for you. In order to unlock this upgrade, you'll need to reach rank 5 in any syndicate of your choosing, which by the way is the max rank. And speaking of syndicates, each one has a representative vendor that awards rank up packages and a few cosmetics, but they mainly serve as a way to track how much you've ranked up the syndicate they represent and to upgrade the renegade abilities offered by the syndicate. Some other things they offer include access to a weekly loot shipment, access to locked areas inside of jobs, the ability to buy certain blasters at reduced prices daily, access to legendary and exotic contracts, lightsaber upgrades, and their own renegade abilities. Each syndicate vendor is the exact same with regards to what you get given from leveling them up. The only things that change are obviously the renegade abilities and cosmetics they offer. There are also plenty of other miscellaneous vendors scattered throughout Tharsis, including an enhancement core credit exchange which can be found on the far left hand side, a glimmer credit exchange located on the far right hand side, the salvage vendor which we discussed earlier. There's also a homeless dreg who moves around the location daily and accepts 100 credits at a time, with rewards ranging from nothing all the way to a lightsaber upgrade core. To the right of spawn, you've also got a bunch of weapon traders who offer various blasters, armor stands which allow you to buy the destination armor, and finally you also have the renegade ability Shank inside the cantina which allows you to alter your loadout outside of jobs. Moving back to the holomap, we're now going to discuss contracts, and it's these objectives that influence what missions you ought to be playing at any given moment. Think of these as bounties or challenges that offer bonus resources and reputation for completing them. The way that these contracts work is simple. Every day you will always start with 5 contracts available to you. 1 priority contract issued from your chosen syndicate, 3 constant contracts, and 1 invasion contract. Priority contracts should be your highest, well, priority since they offer the best loot and reputation gains, and you only get 1 per day. Similarly, you also get 1 invasion contract per day, and again, it's also worth doing this one because it gives some pretty solid rewards and bonus death marks. Once you've completed those 2, the 3 remaining contracts will always be there, and if you complete any, they will instantly repopulate with another. It's impossible to run out, and you can keep grinding them for as long as you'd like. And depending on if you've reached rank 3 in any of these syndicates, the contracts that repopulate the slots have a small chance to be either legendary or exotic contracts, which, as you might imagine, offer improved rewards and rep gains. And actually, the cyan crystal for the Praxic blade comes from exotic contracts only as a rare chance. Okay, so now that I've armed you with the basics, here's how we put it all together, along with some more helpful information regarding mechanics surrounding the Lawless Frontier, as well as how to best optimize your farming. Starting off, once you finish the campaign, the post-campaign quest takes you through how the faction system works and eventually gets you to choose one. It ultimately doesn't matter which one you choose, because the quest will then get you to switch allegiance or stay loyal, but I will say you're better off switching allegiance because of the allegiance bonus you get when switching. When the daily reset happens, inspecting a rival faction's Legion's banner will describe that if you choose to align with them, you will be granted a plus 50 rep gain modifier when you switch on any given day before completing your priority contract. And this is your cue to switch, then grind your ass off for that faction because of the boosted rep gains. My recommendation is to get this bonus, then no matter what, even if a new day occurs, fully max out that faction. Because once you hit the max, which is 5, you can then buy the tier upgrade from Spider. There is also no downside to switching factions. You won't lose rep from one faction for betraying them, and rejoining is free if you change your mind. All you need to do is wait for the next daily reset. Furthermore, as you're playing, you may notice that guns can also drop as curated roles where they come pre-masterworked and feature the Accelerated Assault origin trait, which is very strong for blasters specifically. Please see yesterday's DPS video where I showcase how the M17 Fast Talker can literally fire forever with the right perk combo and this origin trait. In terms of how to farm the activity, your chosen syndicate, and resources most effectively, first off, hard commit to a faction that's offering the allegiance bonus and then just go crazy on that day. To make your farming most efficient, make sure that the jobs you are playing align with at least 2 of the contracts you've been given, or better yet, all 3. So for example, here I have a contract to exfil from jobs in Tharsis Reformation territory, another to exfil from either bounty hunt or sabotage jobs, then a third to exfil from jobs on Europa or Venus. So what I'll then do is select Venus, because when I recorded this, a bounty hunt job was available that was also controlled by the Tharsis Reformation, and in doing this job, I'll manage to hit all 3 contracts in one fell swoop. Not bad. Once you're in the job, target the 2 bonus objectives first, which as a reminder are clearly visible by the beaming purple lights in the sky, then complete the rest of the main objective, occasionally finding chests, resources, and pots/currency throughout. As far as recommended abilities go, my top picks include having a maxed out Revitalize, which grants your super almost instantaneously when standing within the healing zone. The Behemoth deals a metric crap ton of damage, make sure to use this during boss fights or extracts since you only get 1 charge. And finally, the Recon Shank is great for pointing out key chests and highlighting invaders for you and your team. If you're feeling up for it, definitely prioritize playing in contested territory, then use your death marks to invade, as the matches are normally super quick and very rewarding, especially if you win with a high wager. Once you're happy with the amount of grinding you've done, head back to Tharsis and deposit all of your dark matter ingots into your faction's war chest, leveling them up and allowing access to all the associated benefits. That is essentially how everything works in the Lawless Frontier, but because we're pretty early into the expansion, if there's any cool tips or tricks you guys have found in your time playing, then definitely drop a comment down below so you can let other people know. Either way, I hope you enjoyed today's guide, and if you found it useful, a like and subscribe is very much appreciated. If you'd like to find out more about Renegades, including super damage or overall DPS meta testing, then definitely check out the previous videos we've posted on these. Anyway, that's all for today. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now, dear viewer.